Welcome to another episode of the Conscious Reconstruction Podcast. I am the host with the most, and the laughing motherfucker over there is Ash. She is clearly in the building, having a grand old time.
Why do you struggle?
But I am completely fine. Thank you very much. How was your weekend? Okay.
I just never seen anybody. The only time you ever see that is when someone's deep in prayer. Somebody got cancer.
No.
You about to go play basketball. It's the fucking championships. You trying to pull everything you got.
Nope. It
was just
took a cool, brief moment of pause.
Yeah.
And rest. There's a nice rest here. So I used it as such. I don't know what else to tell you. I'm resting.
I say that's the theme for your Sunday. Is rest. Anyway, my weekend was pretty cool. I was a little sick.
That's disappointing.
Yeah.
How'd you get sick?
I don't know. The functions started unfunctioning.
Okay, well, you don't know about that, and I don't care. Since you don't know, but I have something that reminded me of you.
Mm-hmm.
There's this guy at my school. Wow. No, there's not. There's this guy at my job that was homeschooled.
Really?
Yeah, he just is graduating now. He's 19 and about to finish.
Mm.
Yeah, he said that he had a hard time. He said it was rough for me from second grade to 8th grade.
What, he was in school or for homeschooling?
In school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he went to homeschool for all of high school.
Yeah.
He said, at the end of 8th grade, he told his mom, he said, I think that homeschool would be better for me.
So I need to stay my ass at the house.
Yeah, he's like, I don't want to stop doing school, but I don't want to go.
Bro, I wish I had that fucking option. Because when I dropped out, I just stopped going. I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. This place makes me feel like shit. And then once they finally caught up, it was like, you got to do something. I'm like, all right, well, find me something. And then that's how I got into that program. I just stopped going. I was just like, I'm not dealing with this anymore. This is fucking crazy. I can't do it. I'm going to die or stop going to school. Which one do y'all want? Which one? Pick. Because I know which one I would love to do. But I know it's not healthy for me to do that. So I'm going to stop going until someone looks at my cries for help. Please.
Nah, he had learning disabilities like me. Mm-hmm. But I guess no one called him early. And so when he was younger, he used to have like outbursts. Like when he'd be frustrated and shit like that. And so teachers didn't handle that well. And that turned into like him being bullied. And so I was like, it was just a bad time. He's like, the teachers and the students would pick on me. I said,
damn.
That sounds crazy.
Yeah.
I wish a teacher, I mean, I guess I did have teachers try to pick on me, but my mom was kind of crazy, so it didn't necessarily go the best for them.
Did he enjoy the homeschooling after that, from 8th grade or whenever?
Yeah, he said it was better. He said things got a lot better.
Okay.
Because he said from 2nd to 8th was bad. He's like, but after 8th, he's like, things got better.
Good. I'm glad.
Yeah, so.
I am so glad because I don't have to get a tutor for Riley because I'm all sorts of behind in math, but everything else she's pretty cool at. Like, her vocabulary kind of surprises me, but then it's like, I don't know. I don't like taking credit for her. I don't know why. It's like, damn, she really good at this. Identifying words and shit. But that math.
Glad a random person taught her.
Huh? No, I guess I never feel like, I should take credit for this. Like, oh, wait. I don't know why. In my brain, I'm just like, nah, it's just her.
You're right.
But math, oh my God. I need help there. And because I got so behind on everything, I'm like, time to get some help. So now I'm just going to be playing catch up until it's time to re-enroll her again this year. But I'm glad the young man had a good time.
Oh, no, me too. I was like, that because the story started off crazy. I was like, oh, that's we said 2nd to 8th grade. I said, huh? Because
you thought about homeschooling when you started having children. Or are you just like, nah, private school? Or you just, it's one of those things like, I might get them on seat.
I'm into homeschooling. I'm also into like Montessori schools.
Yeah.
just something where it's not hamster wheelish, where you're being prepared to be like a worker bee. That's not what I'm looking to do for my child. I want them to like have skills and actual like valuable life lessons, and not, all right, well, we said you got to sit here for this long, and this is when you get to take your break, and this is how long you got to be here, and this is when you get to go home. That's what working a 9-to-5 is like. I'm not trying to prepare my kid to work a 9-to-5 for the rest of their life, and that's what school does. So,
right,
I would pass on that.
Yeah, they teach you not is it how to think. So, how we tackle everything is kind of in unison, and we don't really. How do I say that? Yeah, we are taught how to think about solving problems and approaching life in this most uniform way, and then wonder why we so unhappy as a collective, and then wonder why you so susceptible.
I don't think you taught how to think. You taught how to follow orders and instructions.
Yeah.
At no point are you really given the agency or like praise for like outside the box thinking when you, even in like in math, there's lots of different ways to get to the answer, but if you don't show the work their way, they're generally pretty upset. They're like, no, we want you to do it this way. It's all of it's very controlled and not really about like you being thoughtful. It's about you being able to like follow directions correctly, and that doesn't really help you in life.
Right.
Can you do what someone else tells you to do and do that for the rest of your life? We're gonna mold you and get you ready for it. No, I'd rather not.
Yeah, you wonder why you niggas so fucking unhappy, because you don't really know how to like. Not me to say that your creativity gets stifled, and that's the true intelligence. Like, a lot of people can read and memorize books, and that's very helpful. That's how you get your point across and everything. But the true intelligence, like the true magic of the world, lies in creativity. That's why everybody be so enamored when motherfuckers come out with these oh so great books. And I was just thinking about that on the way here. Like, is the highest form of teaching and spreading information storytelling. You know what I mean? Like, because I don't know any other way that's like more impactful, more long lasting. Our myths have carried on through fucking who knows, our singers and songwriters out there. If you got something that resonate with the heart and soul of people, you could be just cemented. Books, I was just thinking about J.K. Rowling. I'm like, damn, that bitch really really did that. And I'm like, that has to be, if not one of the highest forms of intelligence. How could it not be? I see it everywhere. I don't know any other profession really. Maybe being a doctor, right? Because obviously health. But really, like, storytelling, that's like the basis of like a lot.
I don't know for me if it's like really intelligence, but I think that it's the longest lasting form of like sharing our like history.
Yeah.
And or at least laying like some type of perspective and shaping the way people like view our history.
Right. And the human experience, right? Because you could tell a story whether it be the truth or not, and it could go one way. But yeah, I guess that's now I'm thinking about it. Like, doctor kind of could have to come second, because the stories we tell ourselves ultimately, like if you say, like for me, when I was younger, my mom used to give me the nurse's bags, and she was like, I caught an attitude because I wanted a doctor bag. I didn't want to be a nurse, I wanted to be a doctor. And from then on, for a little bit, I was like, I'm going to be a doctor for a very long time, until I realized like I don't like school. So the story I told myself up until that point was that, until I started to tell myself a different story. So I'm like, dang, stories are really important. Being a writer, being a creative is one of those things that help you cement the human experience. And that's why I believe it's so profound. And we just can't wrap our heads around it. So that moment of genius when you find something that really click, nothing quite like it.
Yeah. Very, very true. I think that trying to encapsulate the human experience is something that when you find it in like a a written, not even necessarily written, but like musical medium or just any artistical fashion, you usually kind of connect with it and like keep it with you for like the rest of your life.
Yeah, and it's not, it's not separated by anything that we try to uphold in the highest, like where you from, what you look like, how much money you have. Anybody can get this story work. It's not separated by goofy shit.
Yeah.
And even in some case, I guess religion probably, because anybody can read the story of Prometheus, and you can read the story of Jesus and find it in 15 million other cultures and still be riveted by it. Like, that's the only thing I just was like, wow, storytelling is something else. It,
definitely impactful and needed.
Absolutely. How was your weekend?
It's pretty decent. Kicked it. I worked. I worked all weekend. Yeah, I worked yesterday. 8 to 5. And I worked today, 8 to 5. So.
Oh, you work today?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you had every Sunday off.
I did while I was in training, but today has been the first Sunday that I worked when I wasn't in training. Guess my training is technically over. That's kind of whack.
Why? What you got to do now? Actual work?
No, it's just I don't care.
I can't wait till this job is over with.
Like,
This one as fun as when you worked at Amazon? I don't know. Which one is more entertaining for me to witness? I'll let you know when it's all done, okay?
that's one I just don't give a fuck about. It's just they don't offer enough for me to care. They just really don't. Like, when I was at Amazon, like, yeah, they worked a lot, and like I ain't like it, but I made more. They offered me like a sign-on bonus. I got stock options. Like,
Right.
I had like a nice little compensation package, and the fact that you can call it a compensation package when I signed on with them was nice. Like, it was cool. I was fucking with it. I was like, all right, I'm here now. I'm with this. Like, because they brought me in with like at least 5 or 6 to 10 shares of stock. Like, it wasn't a bad little deal. But here, it's just like,
Work, nigga.
yeah, it's just like, all right, this is what we're gonna give you in terms of pay, but anything outside of that, don't expect
much.
Yeah, and then when you get inside the place, it's just like also like very lackluster. Like, they just are on old systems, move behind the times, and it's just like,
My brother said it feel like the 80s when you walk in there.
yeah, man, what the fuck you talking about? Shit. Like, until recently, you could only use fucking checks and
Right,
cash. Shit, fuck. I got to pay
Boy, I remember the first time. I think I was when I first worked at Burger King, and you see right around the corner from the job. I walked in there with my debit card. He was like, "Yeah, we don't take that." I'm like, "Are you serious?" He was like, "No, dead ass." I'm like, "Nah," because I think at the time they had a little like, you know how the little peel, whatever the fuck when you slide it, but they only took like Discover or some weird shit, or like your ID had to go in there. I'm like, I will shoot you all.
You know, it's garbage. No one has time for that. But yeah, no. So we definitely, and by we I mean me, myself, and I recognize this ain't for me.
You and Tony, huh?
Yeah, me and Tony are right. Hey,
we gotta go. We gotta figure the fuck out fast.
What is this?
I don't think you as unhappy as you was at Amazon. That you definitely not stressed. I'll say more like tired, more physically tired.
Yes.
Yeah, she was very unhappy at Amazon. I could say that much. But
Well,
this
because
one
once I
physically
shifted
tired.
at Amazon and I was running the whole building, it was just a lot of stress that I didn't need to take on. Like, my goal was to do one specific thing and take care of like to accomplish something. I was doing that completely fine without moving. Why I decided to move was because I'm bored with this. This is easy. I'm gonna go find something more challenging, sir. Stop going to find shit that's more challenging when you really don't give a fuck. Because then once it's more challenging, you're like, actually, I really didn't care about this. Then you just don't like it. It's not like when it's more challenging and I'm in a situation where either I have to perform or it's more challenging on things that I am like personally invested in. I love the challenge. When I make something more challenging and it is something I don't really give a fuck about, I just become very disinterested. I say, why did I do this? This was a bad decision. I don't know. No, why did I make this harder? I don't even care about this. Your natural inclination to just take on harder challenges or be like, this, I could do more. This could be more complicated. This is not complicated enough. I can add on more to my plate and do it. I could. Do I want to, though? No. Do we care about this enough to actually do the more work that it's going to require for the stuff we want to put on? But no. So, here it's just the schedule's not set. So, it's just all over the place. And so, I don't like that. Because that doesn't allow me to, like, really get into any real routine. That's one of my main issues with it. I'm working 6 days this week. Talking about I only got Tuesday off because it's Memorial Day weekend coming up. What are we talking about? Like, what? What does that have to do with anything? What kind of place is this? I want to go home.
The fucking face is really hilarious. Like,
because the fuck was you
I'm so sorry.
I done been in retail for. Well, I haven't been in it like consistently for lots of years, but I've worked retail jobs throughout my life over the years. And any time that I've been there, I ain't never seen none of the managers have to work an entire... Matter of fact, I worked an entire year at another place. Got hired this January 31st. So I hit all of the holidays. I have to work 6 days? Why would that be a thing? I was a manager then. You could say, oh, well, you weren't a manager at the other place. I was a manager then. And you know what else we got that we don't get here? Because we don't get the holiday pay? A floating holiday. To just take a day off and be compensated for it. They don't do that. Because I said, oh, okay, so do we get like an extra day or do we get paid more? They said, no. If you have to work like 6 days in a row more than a certain amount of time, then you get paid more. But no, it's just kind of how it is.
What's the floating holiday again? So like if you couldn't get Christmas off or some weird shit, you could take it out to like another day? Oh, okay. I do remember that. Yeah.
So like, all right, we all have to work fucking, like they do it a lot for like, healthcare workers, like, because all y'all have to work, so you might have to work on Memorial Day, Veterans Day, one of the like days that everybody else is getting off. So they'll be like, all right, well, you guys get a floating holiday, and so let us know when you want to use that. And so you just get to take a day off that's paid for. Like, it's just a nice gesture.
I let you know they care about you.
Yeah, all of this shit just seemed real like...
Bruh, is that like that? Is that what our parents had to go through? Like, if you ain't got, like, benefits and shit, like, think about, damn, did they have to work like this back in the 80s? I'm about to ask my mother. I think she was in her career. How do I... I think she was in her career. Yeah, she was in her career about the 70s or 80s. But before that, that was, like... I wonder, like, before she worked for an actual company, how was it? But did that shit exist for y'all? Is that way I don't know how to fucking sit down?
Real companies don't have that.
I'm just wondering now.
Because think about this shit, like, motherfuckers been working at this place forever.
Right.
From what I know. Doing this shit their whole life, like... my manager, I think he said he been with the company like somewhere between 10 to 13 years.
It's a prison sentence.
And I was like, okay. And he started off like part-time and worked his way up, and I'm just like, okay, that's cool.
Bro, that shit blow the fuck out of me. What made you be like, yeah, I just want to be at Mark's?
But he's
forever.
like, yeah, no, I don't want to stop here. I want to move up and be over where to do the his boss is. Which I guess, all right, that's cool. What I see, I guess, that sounds rude. I won't say it. But there's a certain type of person that this is a benefit for. This type of job. Like, it'll pay a lot at the beginning. But if you stick it out, you'll be okay. If you're decent to good, I guess. Maybe. Hopefully. I don't know. Let me not lie, because I see a lot of other people that are there and they're just talking about hours and shit, and I'm just like, I don't understand, but that's also none of my business. That's not my burden to bear. It's just, it don't be. I be, you know what's the craziest shit? People gotta stop hiring me and let me knock on wood so I can keep getting these jobs, because I definitely go inside of places and be evangelizing like happiness and pursuing like your own dreams and goals, and like focusing on what you want to do in life and going after that business that you want has nothing to do with like buying into the company or any of those things. I'm like, I don't know if a manager is supposed to be doing this, but this is definitely how I operate with people.
Yeah, stop doing that.
What do you want to do?
Cause that's weird. You in the same boat as them. It's just look at them, nod and wave, boys. Like the fuck? I'm not preaching to nobody. Or we in the same boat? That's weird. Yeah, we should jump off. You first, nigga.
But we don't be in the same boat.
How are you not in the same boat?
Mentality. It doesn't matter where you're at, because you could be somewhere because it fulfills a goal. But if you're there and you have no idea of what you're doing next and no destination, we in very different places. You gonna be here 4 years from now because you didn't know where you were gonna go. So when they offered you the raise, you said yeah. When they offered you full time and you was like, shit, that would be cool, I get more money, you said yeah. When they offered you department head position, you said yeah. Oh, so you entrenched in this. This is where you gonna be.
Right.
I'll be gone by the end of the summer. So
Avita said.
Yeah, so they can talk to me. They can look at it like, oh, we just say, no, sir, or madam, we are not. I am here passing on through, like I be passing on through all these other places to accomplish different goals. If you'd like some information while I'm here, I'm more than willing to share it. Especially with younger people. Like, I don't really be talking to the older people because I don't give a fuck. Like, y'all done made y'all's choice. Like, the only nigga like I tried to kind of talk to, and I didn't really try to, I was just making a conversation, and it just re-certified like why I don't fuck with the older generation is like, there's this guy maybe 10 years older than me at the least. He just has no, he been doing this or retail for at least 2 decades. He don't got no lust for life.
That's crazy.
Like, he talked about how all of his hobbies and pastimes and like things that he enjoyed to like just watch and just enjoy, he don't do anymore. He was like,
why? Did he say why?
He said retail just took it all away.
It's like one of the easiest jobs on the planet. But never mind, because that schedule flip-flopping shit is probably cuckoo.
Yeah, that's the issue. It's not that the job is hard. It's that you can't make build plans. A life routine.
Right. There you go.
And then also they get entrenched in this, oh, well, I don't want to take off. I want to be here. And no. That's not a benefit. So you just working and we were like, yeah, I probably have to work till the day I die. That's a crazy outlook.
Scary.
That's a crazy outlook, my dude. Why would you even like?
At least not like in. Excuse me. At least not like in that profession. Like I said, I don't know when I'm going to be able to stop working. I believe like I'm going to work less, but that sounds crazy.
Yeah, no, it's just I can't really understand a lot of that mentality, and so when I see younger people that just don't seem to have a direction, which I'm having to be running into, it just be like, well, let me at least say something that I know other adults aren't saying. They're just going through the motions and realistically being unhappy and telling you to do the exact same things that have made them unhappy.
Oh my goodness.
You need to come to work and focus on this. This is not, what do you want to do? Like,
this brings me back to when I used to work at the law firm. I used to work in the mailroom, and then I got a job at CareSource, and somebody was making shit, whatever they was offering, just sounded like a great job, and it was in healthcare. I was like, oh, I got the job, y'all. As soon as I started telling everybody, the one lady that said she had my back convinced me not to take the job. And it took me a while, because like what the indicator was, like I got pulled over. You had to drive around for that job, and I got pulled over while I was in the hiring process. So I was like, and then and that's something else that happened too. When I got hired, they said I failed the background check for something, a ticket I had signed for my brother when I was younger. And they said like, oh, this is a misdemeanor, so technically you can't work here. And then I had somebody work it out, like that was like that. They said like, no, that shouldn't even come up on your background report, basically. So then they offered me the job again. And then when I got the ticket and then she convinced me, I was just like, fuck it. But at the time I didn't know, like, you should at least went for it to see where it have landed you. Yeah. Because clearly if the opportunity came back around, maybe it was for you. Maybe it wasn't, I don't know. But she was like, no, I don't think you should take it. I forget her reasoning because this was so long ago, but...
Nah, just be here with me and stuck. What?
That was the same bitch that was like, Ash, you know what you need to do? You need to go on Section 8 because and swallow your pride and get one of them houses. I'm like, there's nothing wrong with that for people that are on it, but it's not for me. But the fact that she was spitting that rhetoric to me was strange. I'm like, my parents really didn't grow up like that, and I kind of don't want to get in the trap of having somebody else pay for my shit, because I feel like, you know, I'm not saying for people who really need help, but you can kind of get dependent on that. I'm like, that's
my thing. Is that's why you can. That's why I do the talking. Yeah. Because you get the other side way more often. You're going to get the other ones that are just going to come out of nowhere and tell you that shit's not possible, that you can't do enough if you don't depend on somebody else, or that you got to settle for this. And it's like, no. You settled because you didn't believe it was possible. Yeah. I tell everybody, y'all should go to college out of state. The reason that I'm not a huge college guy, but I recognize that unless you have like family, like I was fortunate to have family in California, family out here, like, so I could move around like that to the coastals, or at least do the east and west. And so that gave me a landing spot, which I know a lot of other people don't have. But if you go to college, you can live in a dorm and still live in the city and start to experience and learn and like see other things that are possible. You can't stay in Ohio. But shit, when they're telling me about interviews that they got and talk about how they're planning to leave, I be I know, like
get the fuck out of here. Let's go.
One of my dudes, he got an interview tomorrow for IT. I hope he get that shit. Like, if that's what you really want to be doing, don't let this be your last stop. And so I guess that's my mentality about like, versus like us all being in the same boat. It's like, all right, where are our stops at? Where are we going? Or is this my last stop? No. Right. Is this y'all last stop? I can see for some of y'all it might be, or something similar to akin to this is going to be where it's at. Where you're not necessarily happy, but you survive. That can't be the goal. Especially not if you look like me. Like the dude that was homeschooled. Like I'm definitely got like he wanted to get into wrestling. Mm-hmm. I happen to know a female wrestler out here that is in part of the independent circuit. I don't know how I know her. I don't even know if I've met her in real life. She's just been on my like Facebook for at least 10 years, since at least a decade. Don't know if I know this woman, but if I can see where she's working at and get you that information and potentially connect you, why would I not? Or at least show you, hey, that's something. The idea that you have is people out here that are doing it in this state. Yeah, it's possible to get done. Like, and that's what all people really need to do. To know is like, oh shit, other people are doing it. All right, I feel more confident that I can do this. Because a lot of people just follow the leader. So
that's true. Yeah. No, I guess I'm like not the opposite. Like, I'm not about to be unsupportive, but I just always felt like just saying shit just felt like, now I do anyway. Just, I always felt like, you niggas ain't doing shit, so I give up. It's like that for me. So that's why I'll be like, oh, what the fuck? Like, let them figure it out. So I've gotten a little bit more colder in that regard.
I guess I don't care about the adults. They have to show me that they want something different before I like can really like invest in them. But when they're shit, the place I work right now, I got 15-year-olds. So it's like if I got 15, 16, 17-year-olds, you niggas is just, or really I have a whole bunch of people that are just about to graduate. No, this can't, if this is all you thinking about, no, this can't be. You gotta go. Get out. Go somewhere. Do something else. Leave. Go away. We don't want you no more. No. Like, so no, it's just I have such youth and potential. It's just like, I don't know. I'm never so jaded. Like, I recognize that motherfuckers don't listen and life just be bare minimum and niggas be comfortable with that. But I also recognize that a lot of that is because people only have seen other niggas live that life.
Right.
And so if that's all you see, then you kind of think that's what life is like. And that ain't it. This dog don't hunt. You gotta really like invest in yourself in your life. Like, and out here it's so easy hard. Like, me and Charles was talking about that. Like, we was talking about how you was saying we was lazy.
I didn't say that.
Shut up.
I didn't. You.
I'm gonna look over here since she gonna lie to me.
You keep doing that. You did that on one episode. He was like, hey, you remember how you and Charles said I'm like Future? No, the fuck we didn't.
Yeah,
we don't. No, we didn't. You said that. You had your shirt off. It was like, no. Yes, me.
No.
And I was like, well, why would you think that's a compliment? Like, I don't want to say that to you. I would never say that to you.
Time out. It wasn't you and Charles. It was Charles and Marcus.
Oh, okay.
It was said to me.
No, yeah, I remember. Okay, now I remember. But no, you said it on the show. I'm like, I ain't never told you that shit because I don't think that's a compliment. I don't ever want to.
They weren't complimenting me.
I don't ever want to be like, yeah, you remind me of Future. Like, ugh, what? We can't be friends if I really thought that about you. Like, no, we cannot be friends. If I really, honestly, in my heart and soul, was like, I think you like Future. I'm like, we not about to hang out regularly.
No. So no. But what was I saying before that?
You said I called you lazy. But go ahead.
Oh, perfect. Yes. Yeah. So me and Charles were talking about like how life out here is, why we're lazy.
Yeah.
And I told him I think that we're lazy because we're comfortable. I said shit is too easy for us. And he's like, yeah, I can see what you mean. He's like, I see what you mean when you said that life is just pretty simple out here. Like, it's not really
you got complicated. You got nature. You can go to a decent large body of water if you want.
None of that matters.
No, listen, before you cut me off.
Okay.
It's easy because you're surrounded by so many easy things. Like, think about it. In Cali and New York, you surrounded by concrete motherfucking jungles, everybody in the hush. I really believe, like, your environment makes you. And niggas in the middle, think about niggas in the middle of America that can go fish and hike. They can do leisurely things that niggas in New York don't get to have easy access to.
I would agree if you were speaking about New York, yes. West Coast ain't like that.
But it's very heavily densely populated, and every nigga that I hear talk about the West Coast, they still say it's really hustle and bustle, but it's a different kind of hustle and bustle. That's what I hear the most.
Yes, it's more like networking, relationship, being out and about, being in the scene, that type of hustle and bustle. So you're like exhausted because you're out to 2-3 in the morning, like, or you're at someone's house party in the hills and y'all are hanging out and everything like that. But no, it's easy out here, not necessarily because of the nature. Like, I would say like my most like nature plus like society filled place was Seattle. Like, I could walk out my door. Like, I used to routinely like take pictures because outside of my steps I just saw nothing but like forest and trees when I lived out there. Or I could go to the water. Like, that was a place where I really connected with nature, even though I was like in the middle of the city, because it just had like so many good spots. Here it's just easy. Like, shit don't cost a lot. Like,
there you go.
I decided I was gonna buy a house and then bought 2 in the same year. And
that's not attainable in California.
I'm not saying that it's not attainable,
but it's a little harder.
But the level of like lack of preparation I did to buy the second one, and just kind of like pivoting in the middle of it was what I bought the first one, let's say July. By end of August, beginning of September, I was already working on buying the second house. I didn't really do any prep or like, hey, let's look at things and see if this works. I just said I'm gonna go ahead and do it, and then just started to like work and make it happen. And because I live out here, and because of what I make, they said, yeah, that's feasible. You can do that. It wasn't hard. Like, getting a job out here isn't hard. Making around, once you hit that 50 to 70 range out here, shit is so simple.
Right.
And so it doesn't necessarily inspire like a level of urgency that you should have. And I guess that's what me and Charles talked about. It's like the lack of level of urgency. It's like, you just went out and dropped 10 on a car, and that didn't affect most of what you're gonna do, or anything that you gonna do. You also handed me $3,000 a couple of months back, and clearly that didn't affect you buying this car. And so it's like, I watch him, and he like has his cool job and is making decent money, and shit becomes too automatic. You don't have to think about anything. So once you don't have to think about anything, you just kind of be on autopilot, and that don't also lead to happiness. Like, yeah, all my shit is good. I'm not worried about bills or nothing, but I also don't want this as the maximum potential where my life can get to, because I know I can get to more. So for me, that's why I had to do like that refocus, and that's also why I'm leaving $20,000 on the table to go do this other thing. It's like, everything is cool, and if what I really want to focus on is creating like outside wealth, this other opportunity provides that, where doing this where I don't have stability has not really given me. The thing I know about myself, I like routines. I like to build routines and stick to them. Like, that's why like it's hard for me when I'm going to the gym, because that becomes a really entrenched routine, and then I don't want to not go. It's like, all right, well, I have to do this, and this takes hours of my time. But I enjoy the ability to make routines. All right, this from here. Like when I didn't work, I had a routine of like, all right, I'm gonna get up at this time. I'm gonna start writing here. This is what I'm gonna do for this first hour. This is how I'm gonna take my break. Like, I just kind of build out like a routine for myself, and once I'm able to just like work inside that, I operate very well. I'm a very chaotic person, but in my own mind, there's structure. If I'm not able to build a structure because of outside forces, that's when, like, how you're like, you just seem more exhausted. Yeah, it's because I'm consistently feeling like I'm never at rest, because it's either I never have a dedicated rest time, so every time is work. It's all like, all right, well, you got to get the other stuff that you didn't get in before in now, because you don't know when a good rest period will be, or you might have one off day and then not again for a while, so you got to try and shove it all in there. So it's just a unique experience, but I'm ready to, I'm good with my change that I'm gonna make, and getting back to like things being a little more tight around the like belt strings, so that way I can look for outside ways, because if I don't want, my goal is to figure out to put that 20,000 back into my income without going back into another job. And so yeah, that's goal one.
Yeah, I think I'm bored with what I'm doing now, and I've realized like, you've been working and you've made your own money since 2020. Bravo. She's still in the same boat, bitch. What's going on? We have to make changes. That's the hardest one. To enact change on yourself is something else.
I think I know what you need to do.
We're not going to talk about that.
Okay.
No, you can tell me later. I'm open to suggestion.
Oh, you need to scale.
Scale?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, like make, what does that mean? Make stuff bigger? Like make, because every time somebody's about scaling a business, I'll be like, what the fuck does that mean?
Okay, that's a fair question.
Everybody say it.
We do say scale.
Scale your fucking business.
I
You
just
be like,
definitely said it like,
what the fuck?
You need to scale.
Yo, okay, thank you.
All right. So what scale means is you need to figure out in which direction to take your business from either.
Okay.
Let's use like stores. Let's say because yours is a store. Let's say you got one store. You need to figure out how to. But if it was brick and mortar, take that one store from your neighborhood and open another store in another neighborhood. That's scaling, growing the business.
Okay.
But there's two ways to scale. You can scale up or you can scale out. Scaling up is usually making your business, the one that you have, I would say, more lean, more advanced, and more precise in like how it operates. So that way you can attract more business and operate with a higher customer volume. Or you scale wide, which is casting a wider net, which is basically what brick and mortars is. Like McDonald's scales wide.
Oh.
Because they're all over the world, so now anybody can go there. So that's how they obviously they've scaled up. Like most good companies scale up and out.
Oh, you can do both.
Yes.
Okay.
Like that's where you get your best. Like the company I work for right now scaled out, not necessarily like up, and like it's very slow in its upward scaling. And so that's probably its biggest issue. But yeah, so you can scale like outward, and so I think that's what you need to do. You need to figure out how you want to take what you do and basically figure out how to like create a process that makes another one of you. Yeah, because that's basic scaling is like, how do you increase the output of what your company does.
Okay.
And so you might not be able to necessarily make a complete number, another one of you to like double your output, but you might be able to scale and be able to like, all right, I was doing this and now I have a process where I've automated my shipping, and that's allowed me to send out 15 packages a week instead of 10. So you didn't scale double, but you could scale 12 and a half packages a week instead of 10. So you scaled a quarter. But you're still growing, and if you do that consistently, then you'll be able to like really like elevate yourself, because right now that's what most people's problem is. That's how they don't become businesses. Because right now, like, you're an entrepreneur,
Right.
but you're not necessarily a business. So scaling is usually the hurdle that people face, where they're like, all right, well, I'm doing this and I have my clients, and I think that's my neighbor's thing. Like, he has a nice client base and everything like that.
But he might benefit more from like hiring an extra hand, so somebody else can go and like
take on more properties and build out the name and scale. Yeah, so
I never thought about that.
So,
I
also recognize that hiring an extra hand means, like, because if you, let's say you make $40,000-$50,000 a year, if you hire an extra hand, you have to, and you give them 15, you have to either know that they're going to bring in 30.
Okay.
Or you're going to have to be comfortable with like sacrificing what you have to slowly scale that up.
Okay.
So one of those two is going to happen, because you got to, the money to pay them comes from somewhere. So things like that.
Okay.
But that's also shit like I was thinking about scaling and just in my life. Like, I was driving and just thinking about, like, I was thinking about Montessori schools, because I was listening to the podcast and they were talking about it and everything like that. And just getting on issues head about not doing like more informational shit. And they were talking about how Montessori school could be like $27,000 for the year for like preschool.
Right.
Which isn't a crazy number. But when you get to thinking about, like, all right, if you make about $100,000 a year, 120, something like that, you're probably bringing home $6,000 to $7,000 after taxes. And then what is $30,000 a year? Something around $2,000, $3,000 a month.
Yep.
You can't afford to take half of that and then pay for your child to go to Montessori school. So $100,000 is not enough money to like really break free of anything. It's enough to like be comfortable and feel like you're in a different space, but you can't. That's someone's income for a year.
That's what I was just thinking about.
You can't afford to like
yearly salary.
Yeah, put someone's yearly salary into your child's education, and that's what it really takes. And that's number's only going to get bigger as they get older. So you have to figure out how to like scale your life and be able to match pace with that, and match. Or even if you don't want to do Montessori school, you could do private school, but you still need to be able to scale and have the time and the resources to like, or homeschool like you do. But I'm sure a tutor's not free.
Right.
And I'm sure if you had the ability to be like, hey, I would grab more instructors for her, that'd be something that you would do if you could just like pick, hey, I'm gonna have a tutor for this, and just broaden her horizon. It ain't free. And so for me, it's just like, scaling up and being close to 100 or making over 100 it's not enough.
It's not.
It's the bare minimum to like start playing the game.
It sure is. And it is very true what they say. That first 100K is your fucking hardest. Whatever the fuck I was doing wasn't going to get me there. And she realized that. It's a good little knock on the head, but that's okay.
I think the first million is the hardest. I don't think 100K is hard.
Hey, I don't know. What I know from just doing this not on my own mostly, but being the main responsible person. I'm gonna say, I agree with you niggas. It feel like somebody just hit you in the jaw like, oh, okay. You be riding high. And this is why if I'm gonna tell my story, I'm gonna be 100 with everybody. And while lately I'm just like, nah, fuck it. and it's not fuck it for real. It's just because, like I said, when you get into it, it's just a different ball game. But I also tell the ups and downs of it, because be real about the shit. Like that, the internet shit will have you thinking in crazy ass fairy tales. And that's why I'm just like, just be real. Like, I don't lose anything, and I really don't care about nobody's opinion on my life in that regard. But I'll just be real. Like, hey, no, it wasn't the greatest past.
I'll say
months.
that,
or I didn't hit my goals, and was upset. Not upset, but like,
probably
didn't
since
feel great.
college, through like, and going to school, and them giving me monies, I was making close to $100,000 a year. I was like probably around 88,000, 90 grand. It didn't. It was cool. I could do what I wanted to do, but I recognized that it's like a seed. $100,000 is like a seed for real. Like, because that's when you can really like take like $4,000 or wait 3 months and take like $10,000 and really try and like start something. Because $10,000 is a decent amount to like invest in something on like a smaller scale and start to grow it up. You can't really reach those type of numbers until you reach $100,000 in any real like speed. Like if you make what I'm at about 70 right now. 75. I make probably 45 a month, 49, somewhere in there. But in 3 months, that's only 15, and out of that, you still got to pay bills. In 3 months, with the 10, with the 100, you made close to $21,000. You damn near added a whole nother month of like of work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess I was speaking to more of making like your own money. This is because I ain't never did it before, and I ain't got nobody really in my life that has done it and really succeeded. Like all my information that I get, I had to go out and source and pay for, and hope I come across a legit teacher that's not trying to sell you a phony ass fucking dream. Like it's not really anybody I can go to and be like, all right, this is what you're doing wrong, this is what you're doing wrong, this is what you're doing wrong, or this is what you're doing right. So not saying that there's nobody, that's not fair to say, but
I get what you mean. It's
yeah,
you don't have any dedicated like guys, and I definitely agree with that. Just where I feel like there's a lot of things that I was like,
yeah,
all right, I'm going on this journey, but I definitely don't have all the information. But I'm gonna be reading and figuring it out on my own. So
yeah, so like the mistakes are wholly my own. Like there's nothing. I ain't gonna say there's no support, but there's not a lot of it. There's not the support that people claim that you should have. Reality check, like my parents don't look at me and be like, oh my god, you're doing such an amazing job. I don't get those fucking accolades. I don't get it from nobody, for real. Like, damn ass, you doing this by yourself. And I'm not saying like this is something that I'm need or just like resentful and bitter for, but there's none of that really going on. There's no one giving me a pat on the back and being like, hey man, keep going, like I'm a motivator, like how many mistakes you didn't make. And it's like, I'm not saying that if I wanted help that I couldn't get the help. Like I know sometimes my pride be in the way, but this is wholly, like I said, whatever we're trying to create, I'm sure you know this too, like what you trying to create, ain't nobody did that before in your fucking family where you can see like, hey Unc, what did you think about this fucking move, like in this rum arena. I know you got family members that
no, I know
successful.
What you mean. I guess right now, like I have someone that I talk to that I think that I might be able to share ideas with, like, in just like a content way. But they're not family or anything. It's just a friend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This
so, like,
is wholly a new journey that I was just thinking about this shit the other day. Like, who is embarked on the journey that you're embarking on? Not only are you doing something entrepreneurial, but just spiritually too. Like, just being like, we're not continuing this. This stops here. Like, that too. I was like, damn. And I didn't realize like how much slack I should catch, cut myself. Because I didn't tell, like, especially like since October, I didn't tell nobody what the fuck was going on. I didn't reach out to anybody. I was like, I knew I complained about what was going on, but really, the girl that was doing my nails, she was like, where have you been? And I'm like, yeah, I was dealing this stuff with my mom and my business and stuff. She's like, how have you been? And I'm like, yeah, taking care of my mother. She was like, no, how have you been? And I'm like, don't cuss at me.
Yeah, she said, bitch, I didn't ask you about your mother. I said, what are you doing?
Like, how are you feeling? Are you okay? And I'm like, I don't know how to answer that. And it made me so uncomfortable. Like, I just told you how I was doing. The things I was doing was how I was doing. Now that's a different...
No, the things you were doing are the things you were doing. Or how do you feel?
I was like, don't ask me if fucking... I really got uncomfortable. Like, I didn't know how to answer. I really didn't know how to answer this question. I'm like, what? My body started like... Well, what are we doing here? What is she asking all those questions? I'm like, oh, wait. Pause and think about this. Man. Yo. But, yeah, just think about that. Like, this is really like, you're not on your own. There's plenty of help available. Like I said, it's pride issues sometimes with me, but when you do things like this, like I said, I don't like how they portray all this shit. I want to put an end to it. I stop with that fucking foo. Like, of course, would you rather have this than like being unhappy somewhere? Absolutely. I never tell you not to do it, but the fluff that they be putting on this shit is, I'm sick of it. They need to stop lying to y'all. Or stop fluffing it up. I'll say that much. The fucking rose-colored glasses on this bullshit. Stop it.
I definitely can say that it's probably a lot harder to get it on your own. Get that to 100.
Yeah, like 100, like just from experience. Like, this wasn't easy.
No, and that's why for me, I'm like, all right, how can I put 100 together real quick? Mm-hmm. So that way I can use that to build my 100 outside of it.
Right. That's always smart.
And then once I do that, I feel like then I'll have if I can build an engine that creates me 100 every single year, then that gives me the space to like really get into like some other things. It's like, all right, I got a foundation.
For sure. Because like I said, the reason why I'm doing this and my creative pursuits is because I'm not no fucking starving artist. I'm not about to be struggling in those areas. Like, I know who I am well enough to know, like, I'm not about to... Some things I will cut back on. Other things I'm not really compromising on. Like, I'm just not gonna do it. So that's what the inspiration for this shit came from. I mean, obviously I've been wanting to do it for quite some years, but I ain't no fucking starving artist, man. I'm not...
What I want to do is what you want to do, but I guess my biggest hesitation is I need to be able to develop it in a way where it already starts off with some level of like automation.
And that's why I asked you earlier, is that something you really want to do? Because like I said, I'm not saying it's not nothing that can be done, and if you find a better way, then go for it. But you don't. The reason why I asked is you're not like a shopper, and I'm not saying that you couldn't be a shopper, you couldn't do it. But like, it seemed like a lot of people that do this just be like hunting for deals and like the hunt of it. And I'm like, do you really like the hunt of looking for this stuff? Because I don't really know an automated way to do this. And if you find it, again, go for it.
See, I don't really mind the hunting for deals, because like the type of deals that I really want to start hunting for are probably like, not necessarily deals that everybody's going to be able to get into. Like how you're like, all right, well, a pallet costs this.
Yeah.
Not everybody's going to be able to go out and do that.
Right.
Those are the type of deals that I'm hunting for.
Okay.
But in terms of automation, I guess I mean like inventory management and like distribution. If I can figure out a way to like either become like distributed by Amazon where all my stuff just gets sent to their warehouse and then, or Amazon fulfill and they just fulfill it.
You might want to look into that because a lot of people do that. Yeah.
So like that's where my mind is. It's not necessarily that I'm not into like finding the deals. It's how can I remove some level of me having to be present so that way I can scale, because so that would be something I would say for you.
Yeah.
If you could get into that where that's like now you're integrating upward because you're not going wide, you're not creating more stores, but what you're doing is finding a way to reduce your amount of time for shipping so you can spend more time getting more product into this store and sent out. So that's how you could scale that way by yourself without scaling wide. So that'd be something like that where it's like, all right, I found a way to automate my shipping.
Okay.
So that's
what you mean.
So that for me, I want to start off there because I know that's how I want the business to run in itself. Where I can this could be something that I do on like these specific days. Go find source product, everything like that, bring it in, and then send it to them. And then once it's there, as it sells, I just replenish what I have or continue just to funnel them a consistent stream of stock.
Okay.
But I don't want to have to like think about it all too much where it's like, oh, this is going to John and this is going to Billy and no, some of this needs to be automated where it's sent out. I'll go find all the shit because like I enjoy finding stuff. Like you see, I be sending you people like, hey, is this a good thing? I look it up and I'm like, oh, let me ask the person who really do this,
right?
Because like the one dude, he hit me to the gravity chairs because he was buying one. He's like, yeah, no, these are like $60 on Amazon.
Yes.
I said, oh, okay. And we got them for like $30.
Right.
So I'm like, I don't know if that's something that, because that's why I asked you what you sold in your store, because I was like, I don't know what you sell, but I'll just send you all the deals that I come across, because right now I'm not necessarily into it because I haven't figured out a full way to like do the process that I want. But once I really, I'm looking forward to moving into this other space because I feel like the one thing that I lack right now is time.
Right.
And I've wanted a Monday through Friday for a while. And I think this gives me enough time to do it, especially since it's not to like 5 or anything like that. So that'll give me the ability to like really get into automation, really start looking for deals, going out shopping and things like that.
For sure.
But you know, that's where I want to get into, is figuring out how to add this other 20 grand back in and really doubling my income. And then I want to double that.
I'll get there.
I know, I'm trying to do that by the end of in like 8 to 12 months is the goal. So we shall see. But I don't know if you want to go into your topic or if you want to save it or.
What you think? You want to go night-night?
It don't matter. It's about 11.
Okay. Well, we'll cut it here, and I'll bring that shit up next week.
Okay, because it's up to you. I was like, we just had a random conversation, but we definitely have more space and opportunity. But this has been my super short show. I am the host with the most, a.k.a. Tony Melbourne, in the motherfucking building. But I'm about to leave the building because, you know, the show is over. Share, subscribe, like, comment, tell a friend, and tell everybody else that you didn't tell. Yes, last time. And then tell the people you told last time again. Because maybe they didn't listen. You know people, they hard-headed. Love you.